This weekend, a big game coverage. Kick it off last night. McClellan Cowboys and Highlands Owls. Only the second week of the season, and we are already into district play. 14-5A D2 for these guys. Late first quarter, Owls down 3-0. The handoff to senior running back Mateo Rodriguez. Runs right, cuts back left. There he comes. Might be able to, no. He's going right down the sidelines all the way. Then he comes back inside. That's a nice move right there. Finds the end zone. That's a 69-yard touchdown run. Point after, no good. And Owls up 6-3. Second quarter, McCollum responds. They break out a reverse. The ball goes to wide out Luke Landa. He puts on the Jets. That's got him down the sidelines. And he cuts back inside, too. Finds his blockers. He's finally brought down. That's a 41-yard run for the touchdown. They give the Cowboys the lead, 10-6. McCollum takes it, though, 54-26. Over at Gus, the Holmes Huskies facing MacArthur. First quarter, Holmes is going to strike first on the quarterback keeper, Isaac Martinez, from 23 yards out. Up the gut, not going to get him. 7-0 Holmes. By number 9, a nice run right there. Mack comes right back. Quarterback Michael Marock steps up and fires deep. Oh, nice wide open pass. Colton Cornwell. 25-yard touchdown, tying the game at 7-all. That was just the beginning of it, wearing out the end zone. Holmes wins a high-scoring game, 49-42. All right, getting down, having some fun at Ferris Stadium. The Sotomayor Wildcats facing off against the South San Bobcats. Second quarter, Wildcats up 14-0, looking for more. Jaden Gutierrez goes right up the middle, cuts to the right, and he gets tackled down near the 15-yard line after a 40-yard gain. But moments later, Jaden caps off the drive with a 12-yard touchdown run. The Wildcats lead this one 21-0 in the second quarter. Sotomayor rolls 45-0, and the Marshall Rams lost at Laredo United 34-7.
Football coverage brought to you by Davis Law Firm.
Hey, Seattle Seahawks cornerback Tariq Woolen is getting ready for his second season in the NFL. But did you know that the UTSA great is now just going by Reek instead of Tariq? Following practice, he was asked why the name change.
Because all my friends call me Reek, and it was just kind of cool. So I was just like, okay, say less.
Is your mom okay with you going by Reek?
Oh, yeah, I mean, she called me Reek. She called me Ricky. I mean, that's what my family called me. My friends call me that. So, I mean, she don't really trip, you know. She know the whole meaning behind it, and it's cool with me, I know.
If she just called him Reek if he got in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, because usually they use all three of your names.
Well, that's right. That's right. Middle name included.
He needed off-season knee surgery after feeling a pop during OTAs. He had the knee cleaned up, and now he's back on the comeback trail. Reek is coming off a fantastic rookie season, and he wants to take his game to the next level.
Honestly, I feel like last year, you know, people didn't think I could play in this league, or they would have thought I was a special teams guy, but I feel like I had proved that to them. But also, this season, I just want to prove to myself that I'm the best corner in the NFL, and I feel like I am one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL.
What's the next step for you, you think, as a player, as a cornerback, just to improve? What do you want to get better at this year?
Like I said, just the playbook and just slowing the game down more. You know, I'm a fast person, but it's a difference when you can save all your speed and just play with your mental abilities. And I feel like that's what Sherm did. You know, Sherm wasn't the fastest guy, but he knew football in and out. And I feel like that's something I want to do, learn football in and out. That way, you know, when those plays do come and interceptions do come, that's the only time I want to run, you know.
Everybody shortened up their names. Sherm is Richard Sherman, one of Reek's mentors. Woolen is ranked number 76 in the NFL's top 100 players of 2023. I guess we just call you Urs.
That's what a lot of people call me.
And duh.
I call you Dave.
Dave works?
Yeah, it works. New today at 5. If you're planning some fun in the sun this holiday weekend, don't forget to protect yourself from mosquitoes. They could be carrying malaria. The symptoms to look for and how to protect yourself and the family. Today at 5 after Entertainment Tonight. Police on the East Coast scouring the streets right now, trying to find a killer who escaped from a Pennsylvania prison. Authorities are calling Danilo Cavalcante extremely dangerous. Officials say that the convicted murderer broke out of the Chester County Prison around yesterday morning. He was last seen walking down the road about an hour later. Cavalcante was in the early days of serving life in prison for fatally stabbing his ex-girlfriend 38 times. It happened 2 years ago, right in front of their kids. Authorities say that the 34-year-old was sentenced just last week. He was awaiting transfer to the state correctional institution.
For the first time in his annual disclosure form, Justice Clarence Thomas officially detailed vacations that a billionaire friend funded, and he amended a previous disclosure to confirm his friend purchased 3 properties from the Thomas family back in 2014. In an unusual move, Thomas also included a statement defending the trips and acknowledging he inadvertently omitted other financial details in previous reports. The omissions have raised ethics concerns. In his statement, Thomas pledged to report any trips from 2022 onward.
Taking a look outside with live cam. Same old, same old, same old, same old. Gosh, it's getting tiring. And we've started a new month and it still looks the same.
Exactly. Yeah, we're definitely still on the end of August trend over the next couple of days. Mainly just hot, mainly just dry. And that's going to continue at least into the first half of next week, if not all of next week. Now, earlier this morning, we had a little bit of a change out there. You probably noticed it compared to the past couple of mornings where it just felt so refreshing outside. Still wasn't too bad this morning, but we did have a little bit more moisture, the humidity return. Earlier today, dew points, how we measure the low-level moistures in the atmosphere, were actually in the low 70s here in San Antonio. But of course, as we tend to see into the afternoon, humidity levels drop off just a little bit. So yes, we are starting to see a little bit more of that drier air mixed down, which is good because that's going to help with the heat index later on today. Current temperatures in and around the San Antonio area in the 90s for pretty much all of us. 92 over at SA International, 93 out east in Converse, 89 in Canyon Lake. It's 94 at Stinson and 92 out west in Uvalde. Later on this afternoon, a forecast high around 101 degrees. So yes, it is going to be a hot end to the work week, and that's just going to keep sticking with us all the way into the upcoming Labor Day weekend. Each day, a forecast high around 100 degrees with plenty of sunshine. Now, coming up in a little bit, we're going to get you our coastal forecast if you're planning on heading down to the coast, plus talk the tropics as well as elevated fire dangers. We'll have those details in a bit.
Thank you, Bia. A lot of new laws going into effect today all around Texas. One of them is the removal of taxes on everyday health essentials like baby wipes and diapers. They're now tax-free when you purchase them online. During the last legislative session, state lawmakers on both sides of the aisle voted in favor of making these items tax-free. Staffers with the Diaper Bank and other local organizations helped create the bill in order to give parents the ability to afford some of those items that have taken a real hit during inflation. To learn more about what you can purchase tax-free, head over to KSAT12, where we'll have a list of all those items for you.
The August jobs report came out, and it was a bit better than it was expected. It still shows a labor market that is cooling at a gradual rate. Meanwhile, as ABC's Alexis Christoforous reports, elevated prices and higher borrowing costs still has not reined in Americans' appetite to spend.
The jobs report from the Labor Department shows 187,000 jobs were added in August, more than the 170,000 economists expected. But the unemployment rate rose slightly from 3.5% to 3.8%. Among the sectors that saw jobs added, healthcare, leisure and hospitality, and construction. Wages rose 0.2% for the month, coming in lower than economists had forecast. The latest figures could have an impact on the Federal Reserve's next steps to tamp down inflation. After raising interest rates 11 times since last year, the central bank hoping for a soft landing in which hiring and growth slow enough to cool prices, but not so much that they push the economy into recession. The latest report on inflation is due out later this month. Despite prices remaining elevated and higher borrowing costs, Americans' spending remained strong. On Thursday, a report from the Commerce Department showed consumer spending increased by 0.8% in July, the most in 6 months. But that spending could slow, as the report also shows households are drawing down on savings. The Biden administration has unveiled a new proposal under which millions of salaried workers who earn less than $55,000 a year would become eligible for overtime pay. The change could have a big impact on low-paid salary workers in areas such as retail, hospitality, and manufacturing. Alexis Christoforous, ABC News, New York.
Whether by road or by air, millions of people expected to get out of town this long holiday weekend. However, major airports around the country are bracing for the big travel rush.
For lots of folks, the long weekend that is before us is officially, for Labor Day users, the unofficial end of summer.
Millions of Americans are taking to the skies and roads to celebrate. The TSA says it's going to screen about 14 million passengers between today and next Wednesday.
ABC's Victor Oquendo has a story about how today is expected to be the busiest day.
Millions of Americans are taking to the skies in a Labor Day exodus.
It's just going to be stressful.
The TSA saying they expect to screen more than 14 million passengers over the holiday period from September 1st through September 6th. Passenger volumes could be nearly 11% higher than this point last year. Today is expected to be the busiest day, with more than 2.7 million people set to be screened by TSA agents. But airports across the country preparing for high volumes throughout the entire weekend. Chicago expecting particularly high numbers.
For this holiday weekend, there will be approximately 1.6 million passengers traveling between O'Hare and Midway International airports.
This summer's travel volumes are even higher than the same period in 2019, marking this the busiest summer travel period on record.
This is the last weekend of summer, so we are expecting full flights across the board.
This weekend of record travel comes on the heels of Hurricane Idalia. Airlines trying to get back to full strength after all the cancellations earlier this week. The good news, all airports that were impacted by the storm have reopened. Victor Oquendo, ABC News, Miami.
Outside with Light again. Speaking of traveling, people from San Antonio maybe headed south a little bit, huh?
Yep, might be headed down to the Gulf Coast line. Of course, we talked a little bit earlier about what our Labor Day weekend forecast looks like here. Just hot, mostly dry with highs near 100. Temperatures not quite as high near the coast or places like Port A, Rockport, as well as Corpus Christi. Afternoon highs near about 90 over the next 48 hours. Probably feeling a little bit hotter when you factor in the humidity. By the way, water temperature in the mid to upper 80s down there as well. All right, coming up in a little bit, we're going to talk about elevated fire danger. That's still something to think about into this Labor Day weekend. Those details after this.
Did you see that LSU's kicking off this week?
Yeah, I saw that. I don't have my purple on though, I'm sorry. When's that? What time's the game?
Oh, I didn't see.
You don't know what time the game is?
My husband's going to it.
You don't know what time it is?
I
What are
know
you gonna
where
be
it
doing?
is. It's in Orlando.
I bet you Mia knows what time the Aggies are playing this weekend.
I do know that they are at home, and I do know that it is going to be hot, and I didn't wear my maroon today.
What is wrong with you two?
It doesn't feel like fall.
That's probably what it is.
It just doesn't.
Ursula, I think you're right. Yeah, we're trying mentally to get there. We just need the weather to kind of catch up with us, right?
And what's that long word you're using? Climatological.
Yeah.
Summer
Say
is
that again?
over.
Climatological.
Can you say it 3 times?
Meteorological. I could, and that would just end badly. So let's talk about fire danger, because yes, I know a lot of us out and about for Labor Day weekend plans over the next few days. Fire danger is elevated today. We see drier air mix in the afternoon. When you combine that with the dry grasses and vegetation, just know fire safety, very important to think about. No campfires or burn piles. Avoid using tools that can create sparks. Don't drag trailer chains behind your vehicles. And if you are driving, once you go to park your vehicle, try not to park it on some of that dry and dead grass. Speaking of which, of course, we were talking about temperatures, recap of the summer earlier. How about a rainfall recap? Just over 2 inches. That's all we've seen since June 1st. We are over 5 inches below where we should be just from the start of June. Since the start of the year, just under 14 inches of rain officially recorded at SA International, but we are just under 7 inches below where we should be. So definitely need to start making up for that in the rainfall department. If you missed this yesterday, latest drought monitor update that came in, we actually did see some improvements out west along the Rio Grande thanks to some rain that we saw last week from Tropical Storm Harold. But just farther off to the east, here in San Antonio, Bexar County, stretching up into the hill country, we actually have the worst category of drought still in place. That is the exceptional drought. So we'll see what we can find later on in September. Again, at least over the next 7 days, things are expected to be pretty dry here in south central Texas. Here's your KSAT 12-hour forecast throughout the the remainder of this Friday. 100 degrees by 4 p.m., 101 by 5, and then we'll start to see those temperatures fall into the 90s later on this evening and eventually into the 80s later tonight. For your Labor Day weekend, daily chances to touch 100 expected, and you can see that continues even into next week as well. In terms of relief, folks well off to our east finding that this Friday, especially near the Florida Panhandle, stretching up into portions of Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, all thanks to this area of low pressure, which is allowing some more of that Gulf moisture to work northward. Unfortunately, we are on the wrong end of that low pressure system. Maybe a stray shower possible across our far eastern counties tomorrow afternoon. But for most of us, we are just going to stay dry and hot. All right, briefly do want to touch on the tropics. We are 10 days away from the official peak of the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season. Here's post-tropical cyclone Idalia. That is actually approaching Bermuda out in the central Atlantic. At least that's where it's moving into the upcoming weekend. Other than that, it is an active basin. You can see we have Hurricane Franklin, Tropical Storm Jose, Tropical Depression Gert, which actually regenerated into a tropical depression over the past day or so. And then way out east, that is new today, Tropical Depression 12 has formed off the western coast of Africa. There also is another area to watch in the central Atlantic. It has a medium chance for formation. So of course we will continue to monitor that over the next several days. As of right now, no concerns for us here in South Central Texas, just dealing with the heat all the way into next week. We're going to take a step aside and we will be right back after the break.
Take a look at this. A Canyon Lake couple making a strange discovery. This was in their rain gutter. It has left wildlife officials guessing what the mystery animal is.
All right, so the couple used a little bit of water to try and get the animal out of their gutter, but couldn't figure out what that animal was. KSAT sent the video to Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. It says a senior biologist looked at that video and believes it is a squirrel.
But what do you think? We have the video posted on KSAT12.
Two kids capturing hearts after losing an annual T-Rex race.
This is so much fun. CNN's Jeannie Mose reports these 4-year-old best friends won the hearts of so many as they persevered across the finish line.
Move over, thoroughbred racehorses.
And they're off in the kids' T-Rex race.
Here at Emerald Downs in Washington State, the first to go down was the blue dinosaur, and the leader lost his shoe, a croc no less. But that didn't stop the one-shoe teenage T-Rex from winning. Competitors had to be 14 and under. Long past when the rest of the contestants had crossed the finish line, the fight for next to last place featured these two stragglers.
Was it hard to run in the suit?
Yeah, it's hard.
How hard?
I'm like super hard.
Super hard?
Yeah. I have fun.
Alex Schooley and Sydney Petrie are best friends. Sydney is the daughter of the racetrack's marketing director. The two 4-year-olds rocked their warm-up and then held hands as the race got underway.
To watch those two little T-Rexes start to waddle. They were trying to run, but it was more of a waddle.
Sydney kept chewing on a toy T-Rex.
We gotta do the interview first. We gotta do the interview.
Their 100-yard dash was immortalized.
Or we're about to frame it. Whoop, careful, Alex.
The two stragglers finally crossed the finish line. Alex just a few feet ahead of Sydney.
Definitely an amazing best friend moment.
And don't you dare bring up losing. That word is extinct in Sydney the T-Rex's lexicon.
The first thing she said to me when she crossed the finish line was, "Dad, we won. We won."
Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
It's just fun.
That's cute.
That's so cute.
But, hey, they made it all across the finish line, too.
Yeah.
Pretty good. All right, it's a San Japan takeover today on SA Live.
That's the anime convention that's happening in town. Everybody's dressing up at Market Square.
Oh, yes, and so are we. And you are right. It's an anime show takeover on today. And I've got my cosplay sister, Jen Tobias Strusky, out at the event. Hey there, Jen.
That's right. Hello, it's the 14th San Japan, and yes, dressed up along with you, Fiona. You can see below me, a lot of people are trickling in here already. It opened at 10 o'clock, and there's so much to do here. That's what we're going to feature throughout the show, and I think you have some food on set, right, Fiona?
You absolutely do. And you can find this local food truck at San Japan this weekend. And Adrian Avella, executive chef for Jeepney Street Eats food truck, is here. And what are we making today?
We're making Filipino fried rice with Chinese sausage.
All right, a little Filipino fusion. I love it. And Jen is where some folks may already have their game face on, right?
That's right. So there's also an arcade here if you are a video game lover. And we mentioned dressed up, but check this guy out. This is Cloud. So there's also a cosplay costume contest, but you made this. Let me see here. I'm going to hold that. Oh, that's heavy. Okay, what'd you say, 9 pounds?
9 pounds.
Okay, 9 pounds, Fiona. So much going on here. I'll send it back to you.
All right, be sure to let us know what your favorite video game is, and you may go ahead and scan that QR code right there. You may see your answer in the show in just a few minutes.